with AJ and Dom, we know what we're getting with those two guys, and obviously Dave's just transitioning into a new position, but the rest of us, are still back, and so the standard of how we coach, the standard of how we deal with our players, the standard of what you're supposed to be like in this room. Those guys get it, and again, we're excited about the new additions.
With success comes opportunity for coaches and players. How important was it for you to try to retain the most people you could this year?
Every year, that's what we look at. We obviously, throughout the year, everyone gets evaluated on the job they're doing, and when it gets to the point where you're looking at everybody and you're happy with where you are and excited about the growth and still where we're going, it starts with the people in the building. And so I love our guys. I love our coaching staff, and I love how they treat our players. I love the camaraderie that we have, the belief in our systems, and the belief in each other that we show every day. It's very consistent in our building. And so, the idea was to retain everybody. But like you said, there's opportunities. When you have success, there's opportunities for other people. And life's life. There's some things where you just move on from football. And we had a couple of those this year. So, with that, you wish those guys the best of luck, and then you try to bring back the majority, in which I think we have, and then when you add, you try to add value, and I think we've done that as well.
Were you a little surprised to see Coach Quick leave?
Yes, I'll say yes and no. Obviously, when you have a guy that every single day you see him and you know what he's about and how much he cares for the organization and how much he's put into it, I think there's always that. You don't ever think anyone's going to leave, but with opportunity comes, whenever you're given an opportunity, you believe the guys want it and want to move on to do something else and to have that responsibility. And you kind of only live once, kind of saying. So when those opportunities are put in front of you for promotions in our league, man, it's hard to turn them down. And I think with Coach Quick, he's done it all. He's been around the block and he's seen it all. He's so experienced in life, and I think it got to the point where a great opportunity was in front of him, and as good as the opportunity is here, it's nice to move on and try something new. And I don't blame him for that at all. I wished him the best of luck, obviously, in doing it.
Can you talk a little bit about Austin Mack leaving? I think for fans it was a little bit of a surprise because he had signed such a long-term deal, and remember what he did in the Grey Cup final, and how badly you guys were waiting for him the year after when he went to try out for the NFL. What's your reaction when your GM comes to you and says, "Look, we're thinking of moving on, maybe, for cap issues or whatever"?
Yeah, we looked at all of it. Obviously, you're right. When Austin did what he did for his first year here, which was tremendous, win a Grey Cup, have the year he had, we all wanted him back, and we all wanted him to be here as an Alouette forever. Then he goes down south and comes back up, and again, the same feelings are there. When you have great players in your building, you want to retain them, you want to keep them. That doesn't always happen. So no matter how many years they sign for it, a lot of times it is year to year. It's the amount of money you have vested in them, and each year you look at your club and where you're spending your money and the value you're getting and all those things. There's so much that goes into one player being here and being retained. So obviously, when Danny comes to me and he and I speak a lot on our players and how it affects everybody, it's not just one day of thinking about it. There's a constant, talk through what the roster is going to look like if we make these decisions. And the fact is, we came to an agreement with Austin, and it was with the thought of bringing him back, and under the conditions and under the terms that we believed helped everybody. Obviously, what transpired was out of our control a bit, and we decided to say that is what's best for both parties. And when you make that move, you just got to believe it's what's best for the organization, and that's what every single move Danny will ever do. And when I'm involved with those with him, we always think about what's best for the organization, and that's what we take care of. And I think Danny has done a tremendous job of always looking after that fact, and then you live with it from there. Now it's Alex Hollins, it's Stearns, it's Cole, it's everybody on our receiving core having more opportunities now to win jobs and to provide that, what Austin had provided for us.
On Marc-Antoine Dequoy, were you surprised a bit about his decision to leave, or?
Yeah, I do know this. I know Mark had been dealing with injuries over the last few years since I've been here, and I know what he means to our organization. I know what we mean to him, and so he was one of our captains, and the way he always was with our team and in the building, you always have so much respect and want him to be around forever as well. But with injuries, and you're getting older and you're towards the end of your career, more towards the end than the beginning of a career, I can always see how that weighs on people. And so, am I surprised? No. Disappointed? Yeah. I mean, I'd love to have the guy back and competing and doing those things. But I do, again, not every player gets to determine when they're done. And for him to look at it that way and believe this is what's best for him, I can't agree more with that. And so I always, again, same thing, wish him the best. And, going forward, I'm glad he's healthy enough to walk away and be able to do the things in the next chapter of his life.
So if you have a game tomorrow, who's playing there?
Well, we're going to have a competition, I can tell you that. But you know what? That's what our team's been built on. And even with Dequoy, when talking to him in the offseason, it was under the guise of come back and compete and win that job again. And that's what we want from all of our players. That's what's beauty of our team. We talk about C words on our team a lot, and competition is one of the biggest C words that we have. Culture and competition. You got to love it and you got to want it. That's what training camp is all about. It's really looking towards the future, and every single day you have 20-some days to win a job. And so nothing is handed to any of our guys. They know that. And they look at that as a great thing. And that's what makes us who we are. So it'll be a major competition in camp. It'll be one of those things I think everybody will be looking at. Who can take advantage of this opportunity been given? And again, what's best for the Alouette defense? That's who's going to play.
Beauchemin and Sutherland. Where do you see them? Do you see them on the field regularly?
Well, I think they're both going to dictate where they play. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, I think they're both capable of playing multiple places on our defense, on our special teams, and all that stuff. So, I don't think it's just going to be. I don't think you can pigeonhole either one of them. I think, is that where they're going to start? Sure, but I know Noel will have a couple ideas in his mind of the best players play, and the best players play all over the place. So, I think we'll find homes for everybody. And when you talk about those two individuals, obviously, that's probably where they start out, earning an opportunity, but it might be other places as well.
Sutherland, what kind do you think? Do you look at him as a DB? Do you look at him as?
Well, I think we're going to see. I mean, I think in talking to him and him talking to Noel, I think he believes he can play free safety in our league, which I don't doubt. I mean, when I watched his film at Penn State, tackling is a big thing. He can do that. He can cover people. He can cover space. I know he can play special teams because I watched him play special teams and I watched him run down and tackle people. So I think he fits to our game. Now, whether that's at the Sam linebacker position, Will linebacker position, or free safety, I think he's multi-talented, to be quite honest with you. But since we've never had him in the CFL, we've never had him in a training camp, I think you start him out in a place and then let him grow from there and, see where it goes kind of thing.
We don't often see you as excited talking about players not on your roster yet. You keep your composure pretty much even usually. What do you like so much about him?
Well, again, to me, we draft him where we drafted him for a reason. He comes from obviously a very prestigious program down south. He was afforded a couple opportunities in the NFL. Obviously things happened, and he's up here now. I mean, and then when we drafted him, and he came in our building right away, you could just, talking with him, he's a very mature guy. He loves football. I think he adds value to us, from the get-go. It's just a matter of where and how. But he's the right type of individual. And watching how he plays, the competitiveness in him, he fits to what we are. And so, I'm obviously very much looking forward to a guy like that competing on our roster, to get on our roster.
Do you consider Sutherland maybe more physical than Dequoy and as physical than Nate, or?
Again, I think everybody's a little bit different in how they play. I mean, Sutherland played a different position than what Dequoy played in college, so he has physicality. No matter what, that's just the type of player he's been. He's had to be that, being closer to the box. Dequoy played further away from the box. He was still able to come down the box and play around it and blitz off the edge and make tackles in space. But they played a different position altogether. So I think anytime you're in that linebacker mode, those guys are always looked at as physical players first before they are anything. So, obviously I think he has that, as an attribute, as a strength of his, more than anything.
What are you going to be looking at in the upcoming draft? Is there a position you want to fill out first? Or?
Honestly, right now, you look at our whole team in general, you look at where our Canadians presently reside and want to add value and strength to that, but I don't think you want to pigeonhole yourself either. I think, you look at what's available in the draft, what potentially comes to you. I think having strength as your Canadians, and that's one of the strengths we have, is our Canadian talent and the ability to start more than 7 guys and to plug and play for ratio purposes. So even though we have 7 starters at certain positions, if we have a guy in the draft that's at another position that we can add another ratio breaker to that, a guy that can add value on special teams, that's what you're looking for. I think we all just want the right fit of type of player, person-wise, and then just make sure they compete and play at a high level. And I don't know that it matters necessarily right now what position that is. I think we'll have a clearer picture in the next 2 months as we're evaluating, and I haven't yet to start doing that. So it'll be, I think, next week I get the list and I'll start going from there. And then obviously the combine will start that process for us. But again, we always look for fit, right? The right type of person, vet that completely, and then get a guy that's competitive as hell, and then hopefully adds value, whether it's by position or by special teams. We're all good there.
Did you talk with Davis so far this season, just to make a follow-up? Or
no, we've talked a couple times. I've seen him yesterday. I'll see him again in Arizona next week when I go down there. I know he talks to AC quite often. They've already begun their process of watching film and being ready for the season kind of thing. He's good. He's going to be ready.
Can run, can throw.
Yes, he can do all those things. So I'm excited about Davis's next chapter in his football career. I think he did so much for us, being a first-year starter, seeing what that's like, what an offseason is. I think he learned a lot from it, so he's only going to be better. And I think we've done a very good job in our organization of looking after him this offseason to make sure that he's ready to go come in.
You added Crum as a second quarterback. What can you say about him? What did you like about him?
Well, competitiveness, I can say that. I mean, when I watched Dustin play over the last couple of years in Ottawa, I mean, that guy competes on every single play. That's the competitive nature he has, which fits very well to what we are. I love his poise in the pocket. I think he worked a lot on that. I could see improvements from that, and then he is tough as it comes. So, when you have those types of attributes, he's been an accurate quarterback, being able to throw. I know what he's done in college as well, which is a bigger, a piece that you get to see. But as far as the CFL, I love the competitiveness, the toughness that he's shown, mentally and physically, because it's hard when you're not winning a ton of games and you're not the guy every single week and you're having to come in and out of a lineup. That takes a lot of mental toughness to be able to see it. And I've seen him win up games on the road, which is never easy to do. So I love those attributes that he's possessed. And then we'll get to see him when we come in. And having talked to him, again, same thing, just a football guy. Loves football, loves to compete, wants to win, which again, those are all things that we appreciate.
Does he... I guess he does understand his role coming in Montreal with Davis as the anointed number one. In Ottawa, it wasn't maybe that clear who the number one was. Now he knows he ain't going to be competing for the starting job.
Yeah, I'll say this about that. I mean, I think every quarterback coming here understands that you're going for other positions than number one. But the best part about I will always say this about Davis, about a Cody, about the starters I've always been around. They don't ever believe that. They always go in saying, I've got to compete too. and no matter what, nothing's going to be given to me. And that's the type of guys we have in our room. But the supportiveness and the being there for the next guy is what our quarterback room is really all about. And they have to understand, and Dustin, I think, gets this, that we've won with our backup quarterbacks the last couple of years, and that's one of the reasons we've stayed competitive when our starter's gone down, is because how prepared that guy is, the next guy is, the next man up, and you need that in our league. So I think it's still a great opportunity for anybody to come in here, play for an organization I believe is up there at the top with everybody. Culturally, how we do things, how we handle our players, the progressions of what we teach, you're going to get something out of being here. And you're going to add value to it. It's not just a backup who's not going to, you're going to have a place on our team and feel good about that. So I think that's what I think excites Dustin, having talked to him, is he knows he's going to get developed. He knows he's still an important piece of what we do. And, ultimately it's his job to be ready for it. So, and be ready to compete. The other guy you guys didn't mention was Hamlin for free safety. Hamlin's going to be right in the mix with those guys too. So I don't want you guys to forget that guy's too done a lot of things well for us. He's started games for us at free safety as well. So, it's going to be a good battle for those three guys starting out at free safety. And then, like I said, I know Noel will do a good job of, whoever starts, the other guy's probably going to have another position to play, another package to play, and then, of course, all three of those guys are going to be stout on special teams for us. So we're in very good hands in that position.